The aspects of fight science that doesn't get talked about enough, or even at all to the degree that I plan on talking about it today, is the degradation of the chin, specifically in a single fight. And of course, there are the discussions about how that one fight changes the trajectory of a career, but there are some good examples to think about. Wilder versus Fury 2. Today we're obviously covering Tank versus Hector Garcia, but another great example is Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje. Oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes, these slow destruction, these slow degradations of the chin are in situations where you have a heavier handed fighter repeatedly and concussively blasting his opponent, and this opponent normally has a great chin. Another example is Inoue versus Tapales. That's a more recent example. Early on, the fighter who's taking those hard shots from the explosive puncher, early on they're showing a great chin, but there's little tiny like minute reactions, little stumbles after shots, signs of minor brain damage. But then later on, as the fight progresses, their reactions become a little bit more extreme and a little bit more pronounced, and then like how we're about to see here, moments before the finish, their reactions are definitely a little bit weirder. So those tiny wobbles slowly turn into more noticeable losses of motor control and things like that. Start blinking strange, and in this case, Hector said that he went partially blind, or at least in one of the eyes. So like the video, help spread the science, subscribe to stay tuned, and let's get into it. Okay, now let's establish a baseline, or in science we would say a control. How is he reacting early on before his chin starts to give way compared to the later rounds? So here's an example. Gets hit with a clean shot to the chin, and for the most part he eats it. Head snaps back, he instantly comes back. Looks like he's very aware, very stable. He might be a little bit stunned, but it's Gervonta Davis, so most shots are gonna have that kind of effect, even if it's very minor. But for the most part, he seems very stable. Here comes a good shot right here. Boom. Gets blasted right on the chin. But look at him, he's cognizant, he's responding, he's looking to counter, he's looking for opportunities, he's defensively aware, eyes still there, finishing his combo. But then this shot, the right hook that comes up after, look at how it changes the body language. Look at how his eyes roll back just a little bit, and he kind of stumbles back. He kind of has to regain his legs a little bit. It's just minor, it's real minute. In real time, it's almost not imperceptible, but a lot harder to perceive. So after this shot lands, boom, just barely, like, it seems like he's not really affected, but he was just barely affected. It's the small stuff, right? But I want to put emphasis on those small details, because the compound interest builds up, especially with combos. So the first shot doesn't really have much of an effect. The second shot has more of a slightly noticeable effect. Another example of him getting caught with a clean shot to the chin, or really the jaw, and he finishes his combo. He's still aware, still cognizant, still there. And then at a certain point, you see those subtle changes in reaction start to take place more consistently. And I say that because in the previous example, there was the left hand, the cross, followed by the right hook. The cross didn't do too much, but it was the follow-up shot that did a lot of damage. And now, when we get to points later in the fight, after he's taking more and more damage, he gets hit with a single shot, the same type of shot he got hit with earlier. A shot that hit him on the chin, and then he's a little bit stunned, just a little bit. And so, similar to a reaction we saw earlier, it's like real small, just a few milliseconds, boom, but he's stunned. And so in response to previous shots like that, he didn't really have to gather himself. He could respond instantly, like how he was before, finishing his combos. But here there's a brief moment where after he gets hit, he has to recover. You see him snap back right there. After he gets hit, he has to, whoa. So it's the small details like this. It's called the game of inches, but it's also the game of milliseconds, and it's a game of minute changes and reactions. Everything is just small bits and pieces of detail that are the difference between a knockout and a knockdown and a normal punch. And it's a similar shot we just saw, lining him up on the chin with the cross. And I think he shows a great reaction in comparison to the last time. When he eats this shot, he instantly turns back, and he seems like he's ready to defend or respond. So let's look at how he responds to this shot. So this is all over time. So gets blasted kind of on the ear. It's not a crazy hard shot, so he's able to respond. You notice when he's not badly hurt or stunned, he's responding pretty consistently. Again, another perfectly timed and perfectly placed left hand on the chin. And then notice what happens once he gets caught on the chin. Punch technique starts to dissolve, turns into kind of a smack, and then he was trying to follow up with a combo. So he was in the middle of throwing a combo. First shot gets dissolved, second shot no longer exists. He kind of just like stops because he has to regain control of his body. That's what I mean. Degradation, the slow stuff. Earlier, when he gets caught on the chin, he finishes his combo. Here, he pulls it all back and he has to regain control. And then this is only a short period of time. I was talking about how right before the big moments happen, you see signs. This is only a short period of time before the big shot comes over top, hits him around the temple, around the top, back, maybe forward part of the ear, but around the ear, around the temple area. And then there's an interesting debate over whether temple shots are more effective or shots to the chin, because the shots to the chin seem to be effective, but the temple shot is what has him. I think he was trying to duck, right? And as he was trying to duck, he gets hit. And then once he gets hit in the temple, he loses faculty and control of his legs. And so he's kind of stuck down there for an extended period of time. And he has to try and gather himself and get back up. And then obviously, if you're down there for that long, somebody, or in this case, Gervonta, knows that something's wrong. So he keeps walking him down. And yeah, so his body kind of shut down for that short period of time. And again, it's not like he's getting knocked out cold or he's getting knocked down. It's subtle stuff. It's subtle. Like he's only down for about 1 second. He doesn't even go down completely. It's just his body, he's slowly losing control of his body and his consciousness because it's slowly getting beat out of him. And then I'll say this. No, not all punches are built the same. And so even later in the fight, a great shot might not have a massive effect, even if it looks like it should. But the whole point of looking at the degradation is to say, okay, what's the change in consistency, right? So throughout this fight, you see early on, he's eating the shots basically no problem. But then as the fight continues, his reactions get a little bit worse. And that's what I was trying to show. But I think I could probably look into some other examples, like Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje is probably the best example. I may look at that in the future. Tell me your thoughts in the comments section. This is actually one of my favorite Tank fights too, because he looks really good versus Southpaw, pulling out the shoulder roll. Great defense, great footwork, just an amazing performance from Tank. That is all. Fight scientists, look out for some more stuff very soon. Immortality Serum out.